Greetings. Why we're world schooling and some breaking news. I'm not too sure when you want the breaking news, so I might pause to just see who's watching. And forgive me, it's taken me ages to get light, sound, position. It's windy as hell here, and couldn't quite get it all sorted to make it work. So and Wi-Fi as well. You need Wi-Fi. So anyway, quick swig of water. So as I say, we do have some breaking news, which I'm really keen to share with you. It's pretty exciting, and but yeah, let's just see if we get a few people on board, and I will reveal that news later. Why are we world schooling? Well, actually, it goes back to certainly the decision to world school was not one taken at the beginning, whether you can define the beginning or not. But the decision to home educate was definitely a purposeful decision. So let me see if I can fill that in for you so you understand where we're coming from. Hi Tonya, hope you're settling back into New Zealand and all of that stuff. Can't wait to see you guys. So before I met Ellie, we're both, well, we're not both from Christchurch, but that's where we say we met and fell in love and got together. But for those of you who are not aware, back in 2012, Christchurch was rocked by some major earthquakes, 2 earthquakes. The first one did not kill anyone, but it uprooted our city, flattened a lot of buildings around the area, and it changed everyone's lives, even though no lives were lost. And the city was sort of getting to grips with what this is going to, how's life going to be different now we've been smashed up by an earthquake, you know. So we not in all parts of the city, but you know, the waterways, the infrastructure, the roads, all those things were massively impacted, and people at the beginning didn't really understand what that meant for us as a town, as a city. So in the immediate aftermath of the first earthquake, the business community rallied round, as you perhaps expect they would do in a city like that. Cities of Christchurch, so Christchurch is a city of about 350,000, maybe more now, but back then, you know, let's say 500,000 in the wider circle, and the business community rallied round to see what they could do. And I went to a networking event full of entrepreneurs and business people around Christchurch. I can't remember exactly who it was run by, but I think it was a young startup company and very entrepreneurial in their mind, but I wasn't really familiar with them. And there was a room full of people, you know, so a good few hundred in this room, and the MC of this particular event turned out to be a young girl that I'd never seen or heard of or met. And she'd be in her early 20s, I would guess, and to this day I don't know. But this girl held the room. She had so much control of the room. She had such a presence about her, a presence that I'd not seen in someone so young, and it certainly left a mark. So a few weeks afterwards, I don't recall the exact details, but it left such a mark. I thought, I've got to meet this girl and see if I can find out anything about her. So I arranged that meeting. We just had a cup of coffee, and in that meeting, she told me a bit more about herself, and during the conversation, she revealed her entrepreneurial instincts and her desires for the world and making the world a better place and all these sorts of things. But it came out that she'd been homeschooled, home educated, and I hadn't even heard of this concept before. Now remember, back then I'm a single guy, I am not married, no children, don't know where home education even fits. But this girl shares with me that she's home educated, and it leaves this mark. So fast forward, so I'm going to throw out a credit, by the way. So if you're watching Letitia Randall, who's currently living in Raglan in New Zealand and is the brains and creativity behind a very successful company, and I'll try and find out who that is later. But Letitia, thank you for that life-changing moment, even though I didn't realise it at the time. So let me fast forward. When Ellie and I finally did get together, which turned out to be about a year later, we made the decision quite quickly in our relationship that we were gonna, I'm a bit older and I didn't want to mess around, and Ellie and I cleared the decks very quickly that we were open to having children. And once we made that decision, the subject of education came up, and we discussed the concept of homeschooling together, and Ellie felt the same way, and I don't know who she'd been influenced by, but straight away we had already were both signed up to that homeschooling was something that we could see ourselves doing if children came into our life, which we were planning on making happen. And so really that gave us license to get on with it, and for those who know us, we did get on with it, and little Miss came into our world a few years in, quite quickly, but all intentionally. But the subject I'm talking about here is why we're world schooling, and I'm pretty passionate about this because it's not obvious from the outside. So little Miss is 4.5 now, and those of you who are following the journey know we're world schooling. And so the world schooling bit is an evolution, and I will get to that. But the bit I want to get to is that from before little Miss was born, Ellie and I were already considering ourselves home educators. And this is the bit I think that many of the viewers don't want us to answer, because the questions come up, you know, what teaching qualifications do you have, or how do you teach, or what do you teach, or who, all those sorts of things. Well, the thing is, we don't have any teaching qualifications, and we don't have anything in particular that we want to teach her. And that's going to open up another line of whole questions, which I'm going to probably answer another day, because it's really wide and complex, and I love talking about it, but this live will go on too long. So I'm going to talk about that in another session, and maybe tomorrow. The bit I wanted to get across today was that Ellie and I made a decision to home educate before little Miss was born, and because we made that decision, we already felt we were home educators. Whatever that definition is, we already were feeling we have a responsibility from day dot, not when she's age 5 or 6, but day dot, to be teaching her. Now, I know in theory all parents are teachers from day dot. The bit I'm trying to get across is the conscious decision to be aware that her education was starting from that moment. So it fueled the decisions we made, how we went about things, and the type of people that we would talk to, the type of people we would mix with, all those sorts of things. So we were able to share this with friends and family and associates that were close by as little Miss started aging, and that meant we started mixing with home educating families back in Christchurch. Some of our best friends, Mike and Kathy, and their friends, their children were a bit older, but they were already down the home educating route, and we could see how they were parenting their little boys, and how it showed up in some of the things that we were witnessing, and we were inspired by what they were doing, and could see that this could work for us. It reinforced our decision. And then this took us into other home educating circles. We even joined a few groups that we weren't allowed to join because little Miss wasn't even old enough. So we but we surrounded ourselves with these types of people and these types of resources, and we started reading and educating, and just, you know, making sure that our language was consistent with becoming home educators on behalf of Little Miss, and not worrying too much about the how, but just seeing that we needed to be open to other resources and other opportunities. And so by way of an example, as Mike and Kathy took us under their wing, not intentionally, but they started inviting us to some of their home educating groups in Christchurch, and that got us to meet other home educating families, and we started being invited to weekends away and hanging out with these guys. And these were just, for us, they were just phenomenal, life-changing events. They introduced us to people that, just everyday folk like us, who had just decided they were going to home educate. And we hung out with their kids at certain weekends in different places around New Zealand. And again, it just reinforced that this was a decision where we weren't alone, and we didn't have to have all the answers, and this is a way of life that could suit us. And if you're watching this either live or in the recording, you'll see how Ellie's influence on home educating was related just by a desire to be free and spend plenty of time with our little one. And that I haven't mentioned was a big motivator. Not so much how Little Miss might turn out, you know, using Letitia as the inspiration, but both Ellie and I, we were coming to parenting, certainly I was 48, I think, 47 when she was born, and I didn't want to waste any time not seeing and being with her, and home educating was a way that I could spend more time. So that was a big motivation, and we didn't want to be putting her in school and not seeing her, you know, most of her development. So, and again, we didn't have all the answers, and we still don't have all the answers, and I will come to those another day. This was about why we're world schooling, and just being caught up in that was a good enough and a big enough reason for us to make decisions to make that happen. So yeah, there we go. We've got a role model. We've got more role models coming along. We've got a strong decision to make it happen. We're now starting to be influenced by those things. And then back in 2015-16, when our own personal events took a change, and I don't want to say a turn for the worse, but let's say our seasons changed, you know, and from thinking that we were in summer and life was all good, a series of decisions didn't pan out how we wanted them to, and let's say our summer went into autumn and then winter, and this particular winter was pretty dark, in the darkest place that I've ever been, and we had to make some big decisions, and that included leaving New Zealand, or leaving Christchurch, and then eventually leaving New Zealand, not because we wanted to leave New Zealand, but we just needed a complete and utter different change. And during the investigations as to what a new life was going to look like after we left Christchurch, we discovered the location independent life, and we thought we could fit into that, and we started researching and seeing what it meant, and certainly meant more travel, and it just meant all that happened to the home educating, or the home educating, or the unschooling, or whatever we were calling it, it just moved on to a global scale where the world became the teacher, as opposed to any particular resources that we had available around Christchurch and New Zealand. And while we were doing that research, we discovered families that had been doing this for years, and we discovered families of all shapes and sizes from all over the world, all different types of languages, all different continents, and some have been doing it with newborns, and some have been doing it with single child, and some have been doing it with 8, 9, 10 kids. You know, just try and grasp that. 8, 9, 10 kids, and they were unschooling, home educated. We're looking at our family of 3 and going, we could do that. If they can do it, we can do that. And this just reinforced our decision. So for those of you who've been following along or seeing, you'll know we left New Zealand in February 2017. I'm recording this from Thailand at the moment, and we are so yeah, well, it's roughly 18 months, something like that, and roughly 18 months, and we feel stronger than ever that the world schooling thing can work for us. And again, we don't have all the answers and we don't exactly know, but we know more than we did, and we still feel confident we can make this work. And you know, there's plenty of people who know us that we're persistent, and we will keep trying, and we'll keep working on it, and we'll keep telling you about it. And you can, you know, anything we learn we will pass on and share. But how I want to sort of wrap this up before I give you the breaking news is that we knew of families that were doing this before we left, and now 16 months on we know families. And when I say that, they're our friends now. We have met families that are doing this, and we've seen their children and hung out with their children, and little Miss has hung out with their children, and it is just inspiring just to see these families functioning in a variety of different ways. And again, you can't put these people in a box, and nor do I even want to try. This is what we love, you know. Ellie and I don't want to be in any boxes. We never have been. We're not trying to be right about anything. We're not. This is just how we feel, and will it work for us? And you know, kind of this is why I'm sharing this story today. It's the why. And for those of you watching, it's got to be about, will it work for you? It's not, don't care what anyone else thinks or what skills or knowledge or resources they got. Will this work for you? Can you make it work for you? And will it make you happy? Will it make you thrive? Will it be good for your family? Will it be good for your well-being? Don't worry about whether it's good for us. Don't worry about whether it's good for your neighbor, or don't worry about whether it's good for your older brother or sister. Will it be good for you? And so you do need a strong why, and I believe that's why I wanted to share this, because there were some pivotal moments that leads to this day, which is just part of the journey. So I'm going to wrap up, because I think I'll take a quick swig of a drink, and I've got this covered, and I will say more about this in the coming days, because I know there will be questions about, well, how. Everyone loves the how, and even though I say we don't know how and we don't have everything sorted, we know more than we did, and there are some things that I'll be more than happy to share with you that might explain why we still feel strongly about going after our why. So there it is. Our why is to do with, we've seen, it's the freedom for us to be able to spend more time with little Miss. It's the freedom to travel. Both of us had wanted to travel. Our circumstances would not perhaps have allowed it to happen quite how it has happened, but now it has, you know. When life deals you lemons, make lemonade, and that's how we feel. We're just going for gold on this, and we have a long way to go, but we're just so excited about what's next. So I guess I should wrap up with the breaking news and the exciting what is next. Okay, the family's telling me to come home. We've actually got some family visiting here, and it's really awesome to have Ellie's mum, Ellie's dad with us, and his lovely wife Liz, and we're really enjoying their hospitality actually. And yeah, so I'm going to run for dinner, so I'm going to go for the breaking news. Some of you will already know this if you are following Ellie McGuinness personal profile, and you will know this if you're following Ellie McGuinness Holistic Health and Fitness. But our breaking news is, not only will our world schooling journey be great for Ellie, myself and little Miss, Ayla is going to have a little brother or sister. We are going for number 2. Well, number 2 is on the way. It's about 20 weeks in, be due past Christmas and the New Year. We will be returning to New Zealand to have the birth, and that Ellie will talk about that maybe another time, and that'll be a conversation for another day. So hope you got something out of this live as to why we're world schooling. The world schooling is just a bonus. It's the home educating, the concept and the decision that is the important one. And so whether you're watching this live or whether you're going to see it on a recording, I hope some of it makes sense for you, some of it resonates with you. And I will talk about the what and the how and some other concepts tomorrow or through the week, as long as I can get a decent connection and some time to join you. So take care for now, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.